Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. Today we're talking about the BATGIRL cancellation and all the details surrounding that story. Gaga is finally confirmed to be a part of Joker 2, and for trailer time, we're catching up on the ones we missed from Comic-Con. All this and everything else that happened this week in Geek.
Love ya. Get home safe, guys. Peace.
Hello, I'm J-Law, but you can call me Justin, and if you're joining us for the first time, well, we are Geekcentric, a podcast celebrating the world of movies, TV shows, toys, collectibles, gaming, and all things Geekcentric. Joining me for This Week in Geek, we have my sleepy Snorlax of a friend, Nate Shelton. How are you, buddy?
A sleepy Snorlax, you say?
I don't know what kind of
appreciate
Pokemon I would be.
that. You know what? You're kind of like let's go with like a Pseudo-Woodo. Let's go Pseudo-Woodo. I think you might.
Pseudo-Woodo?
Have you looked up
I
Pseudo-Woodo?
like the rhyme.
Oh, dude,
No,
he's a
I
classic.
haven't.
Classic Pokemon. Looks like a tree. You know, he's tall. I think you just put some glasses
Very
on a
Groot-like.
Pseudo-Woodo. Yeah, very Groot-like, very fitting. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Before we get into all of the news and trailers for today, I did want to actually ask you, this week, Seth Rogen tweeted out our first look at the logo design for his produced Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, which is called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which is getting a release next year, August 4th. And this logo, man, like, it is chock full pop culture references that feel very of a time. It has that sort of Nintendo style with the Teenage Mutant Ninja, and then Turtles and Mutant Mayhem have like this sort of punk ska inspired style logo. It all feels very 90s retro style. I'm digging it, and I think it sets up a really cool vibe of what to anticipate for this animated movie from Seth Rogen.
Yeah, very Secret of the Ooze. There's actually an installation. I don't quite know where it is, but he posted like a poster in the real world where the ooze is literally oozing out of it onto the ground, giving me some like old school Nickelodeon vibes personally. But
For sure.
I will say, like, you and I were just talking about this with Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in our review of how, you know, all they have to do is just hit that nostalgia. Like, yes, it's great that kids of today have a new version of the Turtles. That's their Turtles. Awesome. Where's our version of the Turtles? Where have they been? We want them back. Bring them back. And this little tiny, you know, sliver into what this movie looks like it's going to be, I think that's what they're going for. There's so much nostalgia all over this logo alone. So I feel like this might be it. This might be Seth Rogen bringing back the Turtles we know and love.
Yeah, I totally agree. I just thought for a logo and especially the installation that you were referencing, that I think it was I'm imagining was in New York, maybe in LA. I don't know if it necessarily says, but that installation even in itself, like just seeing this logo, just so many different little references that kind of, I think, hint at the sort of vibe and maybe time frame that we might be seeing, even if they're potentially in present time. Maybe what they're surrounded with or what they appreciate are the things of the 90s and so on. So I'm excited. I know, like, we didn't get our first look. We got a date, which is August 4th, 2023. The movie is hitting theaters. But yeah, I wanted to see what you thought of this logo. I know you like logo designs, and I just thought this one was very, very unique because I think it speaks to tone and vibe that they're really going to go for this movie.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they, you know, we're seeing images of you know, the turtles, the different turtles in here. I can't quite tell because they're all purple. Like, I can't quite tell which one.
Yeah, it's like
which.
Graffiti art, though, right?
Yeah,
it's very graffiti art.
But they, I'm wondering if that's going to be a style in the movie itself. Like, I think it'd be really cool. Almost go. I mean, I know we constantly reference it, but go to the Into the Spider-Verse style, but get messy with it. Even like go messy, right?
Yeah.
I'd love to see them just kind of go even like trippy at some points with some of the imagery. I think that would be really, really fun.
Like they don't necessarily stay in the lines, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like the coloring and the shading and stuff like that kind of bleeds a little bit off on the edges a little bit, right?
And I like the idea that the each title, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja, but then the Turtles and then the Mutant Mayhem, are in almost seemingly different styles. So
Exactly.
to maybe even bring that into the movie, right? Have certain sections of it in these different styles to hit different points of the Turtles in their lives in terms of what they look like.
Yeah.
I think would be really, really dope. And is this, just to clarify, do we know if this is CG animation or is this traditional animation?
If I'm not mistaken, it's intending to be a computer animated film.
So I guess it's going to be taking its takeoff of like the TMNT animated movie from like 2007.
It might be on its own
is the
thing.
one?
In all
Yeah.
honesty, I think you might as well just start fresh. And I think with this perspective of Seth Rogen and his team kind of producing it, I think the right thing to do is just a clean slate. Kick things off, make it feel like its own. But it is directed by Jeff Rowe, who did Mitchell's versus the Machines. So
Oh, dude, that's all you have to say. I'm in.
it has the makings to be, a lot of fun and very different to the franchise that I think, as you were pointing out with Into the Spider-Verse, could really set the tone and allow for at least an animated version to have a longevity as a series like Into the Spider-Verse is now going to have, 2 films following it.
Dope stuff. Dope stuff.
So yeah.
Cool, man.
So that's a little soft news to kick off the major news. So let's get into it.
It's all about the details.
All right, last week, some big news dropped that Warner Brothers and Discovery will be canceling the Batgirl movie directed by Adil and Bilal. But the story does not stop there. As the week went on, more news was developing. Like our first news story, DC will have a 10-year plan akin to Marvel's playbook, says CEO David Zaslav. This comes from Aaron Couch and Pamela McClintock from The Hollywood Reporter. Just 2 days after Warner Brothers Discovery made the stunning move to cancel the HBO Max film Batgirl, an unapologetic CEO, David Zaslav, sought to reassure Wall Street there is a cohesive plan for the future of DC. You look at Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman. These are brands that are known everywhere in the world, Zaslav said during an earnings call this past Thursday. We have done a reset. We've restructured the business where we are going to focus, where there is going to be a team with a 10-year plan focusing just on DC. We believe we can build a much more sustainable business. DC has long wished to emulate the success of Disney-owned Marvel Studios, which Kevin Feige has built into the highest-grossing film franchise in history. Zaslav recently brought Feige's former boss, retired Disney film chief Alan Horn, on as an advisor. During the earnings call, Zaslav suggested DC would try to emulate the Marvel playbook. It's very similar to the structure Alan Horn and Bob Iger and Kevin Feige put together very effectively at Disney. We think we can build out a much stronger, sustainable growth business out of DC, said Zaslav. As part of that, we are going to focus on quality. We are not going to release any film before it's ready. DC is something we can make better. DC has proceeded in stops and starts following the conclusion of Christopher Nolan's defining Dark Knight trilogy concluding a decade ago. The studio initially tapped Zack Snyder to oversee a planned universe, which the filmmaker launched in 2013 with Man of Steel. However, Snyder lost the confidence of the studio executives after the divisive 2016 Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, and some of the films in an ambitious 10-project slate announced in 2014 never came to fruition, including Justice League 2. Executive Walter Hamada took the reins of the DC film in 2018 and has been plotting out a number of films, including several for HBO Max, to meet the mandate of the Warner Media CEO, Jason Kilar. Now, plans are changing once again. Zaslav touted a number of DC films coming up, including Black Adam and Shazam: Fury of the Gods, and addressed rumors that some of those films could shift dates without confirming or denying any specifics. We are very excited about them. We've seen them. We think they are terrific, and we think that we can make them even better, Zaslav said, in terms of marketing and distributing the upcoming films, which also includes The Flash, starring controversial actor Ezra Miller. Miller has been accused of choking a fan in Iceland in April 2020, and Business Insider published a report this past Thursday featuring a lengthy interview with the parents of an 18-year-old who says the actor has groomed their child since they were 12. Warner's plans for The Flash, which has a June 2023 release date, have been closely watched. The executive also revealed that while he is focused on theatrical releases, a number of movies will be released with shorter windows and with different marketing campaigns, but will always be agile, and the focus will always be on theatrical. Before the pandemic, theater owners could demand an exclusive theatrical window of 74 to 90 days. Now, a film opening to 50 million or less domestically can be made available in the home as soon as 2 or 3 weeks after theatrical release. Universal was the first major Hollywood studio to strike up those terms. Zaslav's comments come at a fraught time for DC. Last Tuesday, Warner announced the news that it is shelving its $90 million Batgirl movie, which was deep in post-production ahead of a planned HBO Max release. Multiple sources noted that Warner Media Discovery was opting to use losses from the film as a tax write-down rather than releasing it. The move has sparked jitters from other films that could follow. The Blue Beetle filmmaker Angel Manuel Soto liking tweets asking Warner to protect his DC film, which was initially developed for an HBO Max release before being upgraded to theatrical. Zaslav said that expensive films for streaming do not make economic sense. The objective is to grow the DC brand, to grow the DC characters, but also our job is to protect the DC brand, and that's what we're going to do. So it started off with a shelving or cancellation of Batgirl, and it is now fully evolved to an explanation and a 10-year plan. So my question for you, Nate, is first, I know we haven't really talked about this cancellation. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about it? And then my follow-up would be, do you think that this formula is going to work for them? And what do you think is the future of some of these other movies?
Justin, I'm sad. I'm sad. I'm sad for I'm sad for Leslie Grace. I'm sad for Adil and Bilal. I'm sad for everyone who worked on that movie. I'm sad for DC fans right now. I want to be a DC fan. I want to enjoy these characters, but I'm not able to, at least from a film and television standpoint, because of how mishandled they've been. And it's funny, if this sort of information came out of this new 10-year plan to emulate what Marvel has been doing. They've been trying to do that for 10 years. They've been trying to that's what they've been trying to do.
Oh, there's been a lot of these 10-year plans. Yeah. I agree. Yes.
And so it's like, but I will say this, like if this information, if Batgirl was not shelved and this information came out, it might be seen as a spark of hope for DC fans. It might be seen as okay, at least someone is saying something in terms of like, they're going to try, even though this does sound like a lot of bullshit marketing for stockholders and different things like that. And I don't know, man. I'm so flabbergasted by the moves that they're making and by the decisions that they're making as a company. I can't take any of this Zaslav guy seriously in any way. And I also, I also feel bad for anybody working at these companies, at WB, at even at Discovery, or especially within DC, the press, the PR people there, come on, they're having the hardest time of their lives with everything going on. Not even to mention what you just talked about with Ezra Miller and what they're doing, and just, dude, I'm kind of at a loss for words for a lot of this stuff. And I just want something better. I think the strategy shouldn't. I don't think the strategy should be to create a 10-year plan. And I heard that we're going to be talking about some of these movies later on. But I heard that he's like, we're going to start over. Like Black Adam is the new entry point. But when you've got the Shazam trailer referencing the Snyderverse movies, how much are you actually able to create this stepping off point? Why not just focus on creating these, and we talked about this before, these individual universes from DC Comics? Give us the Matt Reeves Batman universe. Awesome, cool. Give us all that. Give us the James Gunn universe. Give us the they don't all need to play together. I get that works for Marvel, but you're not Marvel. You're not Disney,
and you've fallen behind in many ways, right? Like you need to find a new plan that isn't emulating the plan that Feige came up with, over 10 years ago, when he said, we're going to start with Iron Man, we're going to move in, and we'll eventually do a crossover event with Avengers, and it just growing out the story. I don't think that's the right way. First, this whole news about canceling Batgirl, it is, you're absolutely right. It's an absolute shame that we're not going to be able to see this movie. I feel so sorry for everyone involved, especially Adil and Bilal, who we had the opportunity to talk to earlier this year, and they were just so energetic and passionate about just Ms. Marvel. I could only imagine what they were going to do with Batgirl, and they had more money with Batgirl than they did with Ms. Marvel. So I really don't know why they would have canceled it so late in the game. In my opinion, the best solution would be to cancel it all. Would be to just cut them all off and start fresh. Because in this situation, I totally agree with a lot of the sentiment that's out there. This does not look good. Like I can understand maybe a company wanting to protect the brand, and if they see the movie and they don't believe that it lives up to the expectations of the brand, then it would get canceled. But that's not really what's going on here. This is really about saving some money. Yeah. That's why they're doing it. A lot of these movies that will get canceled or move around, it's usually early on in the pre-production, not in the post-production phase. And, we've seen it with Marvel. We've seen directors leave or writers leave based on creative differences. We even saw it with Star Wars, with Solo, with, Phil Lord and Chris Miller leaving because of creative differences. But that's not what we're seeing here. You can say that this is about protecting the brand and protecting the expectations of what fans anticipate of a DC movie, but you can't say that you want to protect your brand and not cancel everything that doesn't make any sense. Especially you're canceling Batgirl, that is a female hero led by a Latina, in which is just great. She dealt with so much shit from people saying, oh, that's not our Batgirl and this and that. And you didn't even give her an opportunity. Yet you're going to move forward with a movie with The Flash because it looks better and it has a lot of world building elements. But your main star, and as of today, is actually, if I'm not mistaken, I was just seeing online, they have been charged with felony and burglary in Vermont as of today, as of the time of this recording. So this is all unfolding. So again, another layer that reveals you're putting your money in the wrong direction. Just cancel it all. I get it, Shazam and Black Adam, they've crossed the finish line. They're in the last stretch of marketing, and the fact that they still want to delay it, it would really be for vanity purposes of trying to seed plant or world build furthermore.
Right. They've already done reshoots, I believe, for Black Adam that probably were to we didn't know about this or this plan, but they did, and they've probably gone in and reshot some ending portions to tie them together in some way, which, again, I think But the problem is, it's like hearing that doesn't surprise me. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I thought that was always their plan, was to create this shared universe. It's just that it wasn't working. And so therefore, personally, I checked out. I was like, cool, that's fine with me. Make a good movie. Maybe I'll see it, but I don't care if Momoa shows up in the end of Black Adam. I could care less. You know what I'm more interested in, honestly, is the next installment of The Batman, is the next Joker. These movies that don't have to tie into these larger
Peacemaker
Snyderverses.
too.
And Peacemaker, yeah,
interested in
season
the
2. Like,
Yeah.
I want all of
Yeah.
that, but I could give
Yeah.
two rat catchers
Shits.
or whatever, if we ended up with a shared universe on the DC side. I don't care.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I just think that if they really want to do a fresh start, I don't think going down the route of trying to emulate what Marvel has done so successfully is the right way to go. I think it is about finding how they can tell their stories differently in comparison.
Yeah.
And I think you're absolutely right. We were already kind of hinting at it. Matt Reeves is the Batman, doesn't need to cross over and touch Black Adam, Shazam, or even Peacemaker for that matter. And Peacemaker, if it would be great if they just said, okay, James, we'll just give you, our previous world's DCU, Aquaman, the Batman, and Superman, and you can keep them in your DCU world and do something fun with them. We're going to go start a new thing, right? So like they've just been basically moved into James Gunn's world for him to kind of play with and add more depth to the Peacekeeper world, which again, spoiler alert for Peacekeeper seeing, the Flash and Aquaman, it was nice to see that sort of connectivity. But again, I just think that there's overall a better strategy and a better way of going about this. It just doesn't make sense of trying to emulate and say now, 10 years later, after everyone's noticing the success of Marvel, and Marvel's heading down a trajectory where I think people are going to get sick of them soon, or potentially. Like there's just so much, right? And they're not all going to be bangers. We know that.
Right.
So the reality is that they're getting to a point of where they're just creating so much content. Is it really going to sustain? And DC's like, oh yeah, we're going to travel back in time 10 years and emulate the plan of the successful Marvel franchise. It just doesn't seem like it is. Think of something new. Let's try to see how you can, give protection and elevate your brand the way you're talking about it in this presentation.
But speaking of protection, I mean, you got to imagine, Matt, the Arkham Matt Reeves show that was going to be happening, like, that's probably not happening anymore, right? The Penguin spinoff is probably not happening. Like,
no, that's still happening. Penguin, Colin Farrell said that they've scheduled shoots and it's happening.
But I'm just saying, if the Batgirl can be done and it's shelved, like, if you got to be sitting there and wondering, if you're a DC filmmaker and you're making a movie that isn't tied to Black Adam or Shazam, and you're making something creative and new and fresh, you got to be wondering, is it safe? Are we gonna lose it? Is it gonna be gone because Zaslav and a few like execs show up and see some footage and say, nah, that doesn't fit within our shared universe 10-year plan, so we're gonna shelve it. It's gone. Like, that's terrifying. That sucks. That absolutely sucks. And it just sucks because it means that they're going to try to emulate this 10-year this Marvel. They're going to try to emulate that side. And we're only going to get movies that are like that. We're only going to get movies that are going to, and trust me, the whole aspect of him saying, like, it's not quite living up to our quality. I'm sorry. What? What quality are you necessarily referring to here? Because yes, have there been some great DC movies? Sure. But again, none of them have to do with the ones that you're excited about and that you seem to be having a 10-year plan for. None of them have anything to do with that. So, like, I don't get it, dude. I don't get it, and I'm not excited, and I'm not happy, and I don't want any of it. And you know what? We'll see in 2024, after the Joker 2 comes out, and see, okay, have we kicked off the 10-year plan already? Has it been in the works for a couple of years now? Or is it just kicking off now? Or have you canceled that? Have you changed your mind? Like, there's no hope in me for this plan that they have.
I think they have money on the mind, though, and the Batman performed really well. The Joker is $1 billion grossing movie,
Right.
so it did really well. They're not going to abandon those, right?
Right.
Taking the chance on Batgirl, and not having any sort of direction of where you're going to actually release this. Is it going to be theater or is it going to be HBO Max? It doesn't make sense for it to be HBO Max because it's just not of the caliber. But then it's not the caliber of movie experience. Again, it's all just bullshit to say, like, we need to save some money, so we're just going to scrap this movie because it's not meeting our expectations. Meeting our expectations is in air quotes here.
Right.
And I think you're right. The breaking the trust and the bond between studio and creators, that is even more dangerous than just, what's happened here with the whole DC. I think if anything, Warner has put a bit of a target on their back as someone to be weary and mindful of, because like you said, you never know, your movie could be canceled and you're knees deep in post-production.
Yeah, unless you're Guy Fieri or you're part of the 90 Day Fiance universe, then you're fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, and just the idea too, I know on Twitter it was going around that slide from their investor call.
Oh, dude,
where
male
it
skewing
showed
and female
the
skewing and
male skew for HBO Max and,
So gross.
and Discovery. The sad reality
Yeah.
of it all is that is a negative and that is not of a way that society should look at these things.
Mm-hmm.
But from a marketing and strategy standpoint, that is how distilled down their strategy is as looking at it as gender and everything, because everyone's a target. You're a target, Nate. I'm a target.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All of the new generation millennial TikTokers, they're a target. If you're of the LGBTQ community, you're a target as well. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone is a marketing target, and I don't know if that's framed from their little presentation where it talks about how it's broken down and how HBO Max skews more male and Discovery is more for the female because it has all of these reality TV shows sort of stuff.
Justin, you love those homemaking shows.
HGTV.
Yeah.
I love the HGTV. Property Brothers. I'm
Yeah.
a huge fan. They're a brand that showed up on that little thing. So all this to say that it seems like Warner is going to be going through a real, like you mentioned at the top of this discussion, a PR nightmare.
Yeah.
Of sort of having to deal with sort of cleaning up this mess. And honestly, I think especially with the news that has dropped here, it doesn't make sense to cancel a very forward thinking movie like Batgirl with, again, a female led superhero and a Latina actress, and you're going to go forward with Flash and all of this with Ezra Miller as your star. It shows that you're really in it for the money.
Just put it on your streaming service.
Statement.
Just put it on the streaming service. You don't even have to put a commercial.
Which one? Flash?
Here's the thing. No. Put Batgirl.
Are you talking about Batgirl?
Put Batgirl on the streaming service. You don't even have to market it now. You've done your marketing by shelving it. You've done your marketing. Everyone's talking about it. So then
and now everyone's like, I want to see this thing.
So literally, you put out a tweet. You put out a single tweet that says Batgirl is now available on Discovery Max Plus or whatever the frick you're going to call it. And there you go. You got your day one signups right there. We'll all tune in. We'll all watch it because we want to see what the frick you're talking about, why it was shelved. We want to understand. We want to see her performance. I want to see Brendan Fraser in the movie. Like I want to see.
Yes,
I want to see that movie.
As fast as they gave it to us, they took it away. Right. They took away Leslie Grace as Batgirl. Brendan Fraser is a villain in this movie, and Michael Keaton returning as Batman to interact with Batgirl. Right, like. And J.K. Simmons was Gordon. Was Jim Gordon in this film. Like, I just don't understand. And maybe you're right. Maybe it is a good strategy to just put it out on their streaming platform in 2 years when they've merged themselves together as one. Give them the time to fix this movie because, again, I entirely believe that a film that is that far in should not be. It
could be a low key Snyder Cut situation again. You know what I mean? It could just be.
It probably will be. If it happens, and I think enough people on Twitter and stuff like that are going to start doing this whole thing. I don't think it'll have the same momentum and movement as what the Snyder thing is, because as we know, a lot of it was bots and things like that from news that's been kind of
repurpose
revealing.
them. Let's repurpose the bots.
Yeah. But honestly, I'm just thinking, to your point, you've already given it the buzz.
Yep.
You can say in 2 years, you know what? Hey, listen, remember that movie we said we canceled? Well, now that we're merging, we're going to show it.
Here it
It's going to
is.
be our launching thing. Here it is.
Gross.
Right? And I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But alas, we will have to wait and see. But not that long, based on our next news story. Lady Gaga joins Joaquin Phoenix in Todd Phillips' Joker sequel. This comes from Etten Vlessing at The Hollywood Reporter. Lady Gaga has made it official. She'll be starring opposite Joaquin Phoenix in director Todd Phillips' sequel to Joker, the Oscar-winning $1 billion grossing 2019 Warner Brother hit based on the DC villain. In June, The Hollywood Reporter broke the news that the musician was in early talks to join the sequel, which would be a musical. On Thursday, Gaga took to her Twitter account to raise the curtain on her appearance in The Joker, now called Joker, Folie à deux, I think it's how it's pronounced,
That's pretty good.
alongside Phoenix with a short animated teaser. Phillips has been writing the script with Joker co-writer Scott Silver, and Warner Brothers has given it a green light. Warner Brothers has set a October 4th, 2024 release date, but based on our last news story, we'll wait and see if that actually happens. Details on Gaga's character are still under wraps. Joker is known for his on and off again abusive relationship with Harley Quinn, his psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum mental institution, who falls in love with him and becomes his sidekick and partner in crime. Phillips previously produced A Star Is Born in 2018 that starred Joker producer Bradley Cooper and Gaga. It is unclear whether Phillips and company are using other DC characters or striking on their own, as they did in many instances with the first movie. So, we just talked about the last story where they're trying to create a 10-year plan and a universe and something that feels MCU. And this feels entirely void of
Right?
that. It feels entirely independent of it, and it sounds so much more interesting.
Yes.
Like the fact that you would do the follow-up to the Joker as a musical. I don't know if you've seen this movie. Have you seen Dancer in the Dark?
No.
Okay, well, it's a Danish film from Lars von Trier that stars Bjork, and it's absolutely amazing, dude. It's a very sad story, and there's musical moments, and it's very apparent it's happening in her head, and there's no extravagant nature to it. It's very documentary style, like it's just cameras are set up and shooting it, and I'm completely envisioning how this romantic story in an asylum is a musical. It makes me excited for seeing what this is all about.
Right. Like it's almost from the sense of like how the Joker movie is inspired by Taxi Driver and The King of Comedy.
Exactly.
And I think that makes a lot of sense if they were to do it that way. I love the title, Folie à deux, which I was just looking it up. Is apparently also known as shared psychosis or shared delusional disorder, SDD, which is a rare psychiatric syndrome in which the symptoms of a delusional belief and sometimes hallucinations are transmitted from one individual to another. So obviously with Harley Quinn, like that's literally their story. I think it's fantastic. I love the idea that it's a musical. I think Gaga is the perfect choice for this role. I don't even know if they'll go so far as to call her Harley Quinn. They don't have to. I think they again, it sounds so unique. It sounds so different than these big blockbusters. And that's what makes it interesting. That's what I want to see. I think the unfortunate part is like, again, like I keep going back and forth between like how dedicated are they to this 10-year plan of this multiverse, and do they incorporate this stuff? Or are they so dedicated to that 10-year plan that even though they are all about making money, no matter how much money this sequel makes, is it too different to fit within their 10-year plan? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally know what you mean.
Yeah.
I totally get what you're saying. But I think the success of the Joker and how it was so centric on him, and the fact that you have a big get like Gaga coming in, who's very likely to play Harley Quinn, but she'll probably go by her name, Dr. Harleen Frances Quinzel, rather than her staple Harley Quinn And I enjoy that. I think that would be really interesting. And like you said, getting Gaga, huge get. It's a musical. It makes complete sense. This is what I would back. I would be pushing these things because the reality is a movie like this, you don't need to invest a lot of money, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you do not need to invest a lot of money. Like,
No.
They didn't have to spend a lot of money on the Joker, and yet they made $1 billion in 2019.
Yeah.
How much are they going to make? How much are they going to spend here? And how much are they going to make?
Right. You can film this as an art house movie, right? You can film it in the sense that we don't need big explosions. We don't need it. This is strictly about intimate scenes, personal scenes into the minds of these characters. We don't need to go, epic action sequences. I'm sure the costuming and the musical sort of production, maybe musicality of it might be a little bit more expensive than something like the first movie, but
that's where the dollars are going
right?
to go. You're absolutely right. I didn't even think of that. That's probably where the dollars are going to go.
But I am excited that, again, we'll get to see Gaga in another role, and I think she's incredibly talented, and I'm excited to see Joaquin Phoenix again in this role. I again, we were talking just the other night of like, it's tough to say that you enjoy that movie because it's like it's a dark and depressing, and you can't walk out of it being like, oh, I had such a great time. But I do think that it is such an excellent film, and I'm really looking forward to this. And I know Kevin's going to hate it. Kevin's going to absolutely despise it. So, there you go.
I don't know. He was yeah, I guess he wasn't a fan.
He wasn't a fan of the first one. We walked out of the first one, and he was like, ugh. And I was like, what are you talking about?
It was too depressing.
Yeah.
It was too depressing for him.
Yeah.
It was too depressing for him. I remember. Yeah. And I also think, though, that that's something that is incredibly unique to DC.
Mm-hmm.
Again, even looking at the Batman, looking at the Batman as well in conjunction with what they've done here with the Joker. Again, they don't need to.
No.
They don't need to cross over. But the fact that they're their own independent stories that are happening right now that have a tone that I know audiences have wanted to see with their DC.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Ever since Christopher Nolan introduced us to a more real, understanding world of Gotham and Batman, they like that, right? And Zack Snyder, he did what he could, and he made it his own thing, and that felt very emulated of trying to be Marvel, but a little bit darker and edgier. But I've always wanted that real world experience to the DC, which is why I was excited for Man of Steel, and it was a huge letdown for me. It was a huge letdown. Yeah. So I'm really happy to see this movie, making strides and getting someone like Lady Gaga. I'm excited to see it in 2024 if it ends up not getting canceled.
I don't know. But folie à deux. I cannot wait. Folie à deux. That's so not French. Folie à deux.
There you go.
We're in Canada. We should know how to do this.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes. We should speak French, apparently. Okay, on to our next news story, and this is our last one. Switching properties and brands here. We're going to the MCU. Looks like She-Hulk premiere is delayed. This comes from Joe Screbbles over at IGN. She-Hulk Attorney of Law has been delayed, but thankfully only by a day. Does that rhyme? That kind of rhymes. It's scheduled to begin on August 17th, but the premiere will now be airing on August 18th, with the entire 9-episode season seeing releases on Thursdays from then on. Disney hasn't explained this shift. The announcement was made at a Television Critics Association summer press tour, where Disney also announced premiere dates for Brie Larson's docuseries Growing Up, which is September 8th, real-world exploration show Epic Adventure with Bertie Gregory, also September 8th. Benedict Cumberbatch's narrative nature docuseries Supernatural, September 21st. And one of my favorites, The Mighty Ducks Game Changers Season 2, September 28th. This is kind of a big deal. I know a lot of people were talking about the release strategy around Ms. Marvel and Obi-Wan, it being an issue. So it's interesting that they've just gently pushed this by a day, and now She-Hulk is just going to come out every Thursday from here until, I believe, like end of September. 9 weeks. So
it doesn't. It doesn't clash with Andor
into October,
right? It doesn't clash with Andor
and by any means. They will cross over. Yeah, they will cross over and I think it's the last 3 weeks. of the episode Andor will have started, but it'll be sticking to, I believe, the Wednesday.
But
release,
the way that
while this
Disney
is now taking over Thursday.
has I mean, even to the point where, like, if you're worried about spoilers, Disney will spoil their own shows literally a day after on Twitter, and GIFs will be put out. So it's one of those things where this is appointment television. You see it on the day that it comes out if you really are a fan. And I think that's kind of what they're banking on here. They're banking on the fact that, cool, they aren't going to eat into each other because as far as Mindspace is concerned, they're a day apart, I guess.
Sure. I understand the release strategy of also putting it at like midnight, like as soon as the clock turns, it's on there. First thing I do when I wake up is usually watch one of those shows, right? Like, it's like, okay, I can't go on social media until I watch this
Right?
show, so I should go on social.
Yeah.
I should watch the show and then I can go on social media, right? It's just it's an easier situation to deal with. But yeah, I think it's smart. Appointment television. Bring it back.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's a good idea. Fridays are movies. That's a great idea. What about Sundays? Put some of those other shows that come out on Sundays, or, Saturday morning cartoons.
Sure.
Put your cartoons on Saturday.
Yeah, your animated projects.
You know what I mean?
That'd
like,
be cool.
Like that nostalgia itself will make people like really enjoy it, right? So, I don't know. There's an opportunity there.
As streaming becomes more and more like TV.
Yeah, so it's only by a day, so we'll get to enjoy that soon enough. But that's it for news. Let's move into our next segment because
It's trailer time.
all right, continuing on the theme of all things DC and Warner, we're going to talk about two trailers that were released at Comic-Con. We were talking about the Black Adam and Shazam trailer. It makes a lot of sense because we are sad that we missed them. We just decided to cover everything Marvel because it blew our tops off. We basically decided we'll talk about them later. And now is the time in which we will talk about them. So the first trailer, Black Adam, directed by Jaume Collet Serra. And this, of course, stars Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Sarah Shahi, Noah Centineo, Pierce Brosnan, Jennifer Holland, Quintessa Swindle, Aldous Hodge, Joseph Gatt, and many, many more. And in this trailer, it was revealed that Viola Davis will be returning as Amanda Waller. So that's pretty cool. Nearly 5,000 years after he was bestowed with this almighty power of the Egyptian gods and imprisoned just as quickly, Black Adam is freed from his earthly tomb, ready to unleash his unique form of justice on this modern world. This one hits theaters, fingers crossed.
We'll see.
But it's pretty safe to say because we're getting close. We're getting close here. October 21st, 2022. I feel like this is one of the movies that has gotten over the finish line. It's in its final stretch here. It would be crazy if they decided to just move these dates, or I don't think they're going to cancel them, because to cancel a movie with The Rock would be nuts.
No,
right?
it's
He would be pissed too, because he would be pissed.
Oh, yeah.
He would be like, that would be a full out war.
Yeah,
right.
He'd be pissing Zoa all over the place, dude. He'd be so upset. This looks good. This looks interesting. I'm stoked to see Pierce Brosnan in a movie again. I think Dr. Fate looks fantastic. I think the helmet looks great. I'm not a huge Black Adam, Shazam, or really DC, in terms of the comic books, fan of these characters. And so, I think... But
this has you interested,
This has me interested. I was reading that Dr. Fate is kind of like the DC equivalent of Doctor Strange. And so I think that's interesting. I will say the only thing coming off this trailer, I'm worried that it's overstuffed, much like, Dwayne The Rock Johnson into that suit. I'm worried that it's a little bit, it's kind of, there's too much. They have to do an origin story for him, but then they're also going to introduce the JSA and Atom Smasher and Hawkman and Cyclone and Dr. Fate. And I guess the big thing for me is it's just like there's so much going on in just this trailer alone that I just don't know if they're going to be able to pull it off within that runtime, and if it'll feel, I'm just worried that they're going to do the give if you're going to do a Black Adam movie, and it's your first one, and this is a 10-year plan that you're following here, which obviously wasn't the plan when they initially
The 10-year plan.
when they initially started making this movie, or even probably up until these reshoots. But again, it's one of those things where I'm worried that it's going to struggle from the origin story movie situation that so many of these superhero movies do, and also want to introduce, it almost feels like it's like, okay, here's the origin story and the sequel at the same time. And I just don't know how well that's going to work.
Shang-Chi.
Right. There you go.
Yeah, Shang-Chi is exactly like that for me, and I totally agree that this could have that syndrome of the origin story where it's trying to build up the character while also building up the world. Mm-hmm. You're doing a lot in one movie, and I think it should be focused on the character. I'm also concerned that The Rock. I love The Rock. I love Dwayne The Rock Johnson from my wrestling appreciation days, which will come up later. But it just really feels like he's acting in all of these scenes, and that he's really there for the stature and his look, and like, yeah, he looks great as Black Adam, but like, again, we have to see the movie. But there's just a lot of like posing and like, I'm this. And
yeah.
Like, I just wish they gave us something that showed a little bit more emotional range in the trailer. Do you know what I mean? And that can kind of help us understand the character other than just a very sort of typical moment at the beginning of the trailer where we see, I believe looks like his son is being sacrificed. And I'm like, yeah, that has a very emotional moment, but we don't hang on it. It's just like, here's this key piece of information. Right. Here's all this other shit.
That's probably what the movie is, Justin. That's probably how the movie runs. Is like, we're going to get 2 seconds of that, and then he's Black Adam. And again, it's just one of those things where it's like, no, give us a Black Adam movie that tells us who Black Adam is and sets up Black Adam, because I'll be honest with you, there isn't really one already. It's not like Spider-Man, where we actually would prefer you to skip over the origin story at this point if we're getting another Spider-Man, right? It's no.
Sure.
Give us the origin movie of Black Adam. How does he get there? I think that would just be so much more interesting to focus on, but we'll have to wait and see. Again, the idea of like a superhero team, so to speak, with the JSA going up against the anti-hero is a little bit more unique. So yeah, we'll have to see, but
for sure. Seeing Pierce Brosnan, in this is going to be in this movie has me excited for Dr. Fate as well, and the fact that Jennifer Holland, who's playing her character from Peacemaker, Amelia Harcourt, and as I mentioned, Viola Davis, who plays Amanda Walder, both from Peacemaker's universe. I'm glad that they're trying to connect at least to that, because that fits. That fits at least James Gunn's Peacekeeper is kind of kicking the ball, if you will, for at least some sort of level of continuity. When we did see Flash and Aquaman at the end there, just for those moments, plus Wonder Woman and Superman, it was nice to have that level of continuity of that. Like, they're the heroes of the world that he's talking about, that he's living in. But Black Adam could definitely fit into that. Maybe they keep this set of stories focused on Black Adam and Shazam, which is our next trailer that we're going to talk about. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, directed by the director who directed the first one, David F. Sandberg. This movie stars, of course, Zachary Levi as Shazam, Asher Angel, Rachel Ziegler, Jack Dylan Grazer. We got Ross Butler, Adam Brody. A lot of the original cast is returning for this movie, but the two additional cast members we have are Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu. Shazam takes on the villainous Hespera and Calypso. Hespera is played by Helen Mirren, and Calypso is played by Lucy Liu. They're the daughters of Greek titan Atlas, and it hits theaters December 21st, 2022 of this year. This is one of the ones that they think is going to be moved to early 2023. And I'm not really sure why. Maybe it might be to introduce Black Adam, because I found it really interesting during the Comic-Con panel that they didn't try to at least hint at that idea, because Shazam and Black Adam are from the same story. Yeah. So they seemed like they were siloed as their own independent movies, when their movies should be celebrated together. And what that could look like if there was a little bit of a hint. You don't need to show us, but just that's why WB's presentation at Comic-Con felt very siloed. Yeah. because this was going on behind the scenes, and even the way The Rock had talked about potentially Superman or Henry Cavill showing up as Superman again in his movie, like the way he responded to it, it was almost as if like he doesn't know. Like there's shit's happening.
Although I will
right?
say,
like it explained his.
Yeah, I will say Zachary Levi in a few of his SDCC interviews definitely didn't outright say, but very much hinted at the idea that they would cross paths with, Shazam and Black Adam would cross paths at some point, whether it's in these movies or not. So I think that makes sense. I was happy to see, Billy again in his teenage form. I think, Asher Angel kind of back again, where in the first movie he was kind of there for the beginning portion and then just gone the entire time. So it looks like we're going to get more of the Shazamly, which I think is the right call. Honestly, I think, again, even though this does feel like it might be part of that, shared universe, and Shazam is going to end up, away from his Shazamly with another team of DC superheroes at some point, who knows? I think the idea of focusing on keeping the family as the team throughout the movie is probably the smartest call they can make, because those were some of the best parts of the first one, was when they were working together.
100%.
And so it'll be interesting to see. We see him smash into a building when he's on fire, and at SDCC, Zachary Levi hinted at that there was something that lit him on fire. I think it's that dragon. There's a dragon in this movie, which it's cool that they're adding more like mythical elements to the movie. Like at one point we see a bunch of like black unicorns, which I think is really cool, and I think it makes sense given the Daughters of Atlas would be from the realm of the gods, and there's probably going to be a lot of more mythical elements. Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu as villains is dope. I think that's super cool. And then Rachel Zegler apparently confirmed that her character would be the third daughter of Atlas, and you do see her in this trailer as well, Thea.
Yeah.
So I think the idea behind it is like they're there because the Shazamly is unintentionally stealing their magic, and they're there to get it back. Like I think that's the whole crux of it, is like every time they turn into the Shazamly, it's like they're drained a little bit more of their, like the Daughters of Atlas are drained a little bit, and their people maybe are drained of their power. So maybe that's why they're there. They're there to kind of get it back. I don't know. It could be as simple and dumb as that if they wanted to.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting concept. Yeah, I think Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu as villains. I like Lucy Liu as a villain. I just don't know. I'll be interested to see how Helen Mirren performs. Right? Yeah. It's going to be weird to see her maybe in some of these CGI scenes that are
where she's flying around and punching people and how plastic, how Gumby is she going to look, right?
Or are they just going to have her like situated and she's just going to be like throwing her hands, doing stuff. Like maybe this is her opportunity, because she was never in Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. So maybe this is her opportunity to be a character like such and emulate
You're
that.
a wizard, Helen.
Wizard. But Zachary Levi looks like, hilarious, fun, and you're absolutely, the Shazamly is the highlight of the first movie, and to see them get the continuing story here and be like more comfortable with their powers, like that's like Shazam was a really great way to handle the origin story, and it stays focused on the family, it stays focused on the kids, it keeps it really simple and grounded. And there's some really spectacular elements obviously with the threat and the discovery and all of this, so but it was just handled really well. It didn't overstuff too much, but it introduced it enough to make a sequel go full-fledged, with obviously having the daughters of the Greek Titan Atlas, right, suddenly be the villains. So a dragon is cool, mythical is cool. I think that's a good idea, something that can kind of expand the lore and the world within Shazam, that very much gave probably the powers of Black Adam, because it seems like Black Adam was bestowed with the powers.
He was the original, I think, right?
It's interesting how exactly. So like the reality of what they're building with putting these two movies out, showing both of their trailers, and they're coming out close to each other. I actually kind of enjoy that, because it's kind of like a 1-2 hit of what is probably the same story, and it feels like that they're just going to be focused differently. But again, it could just stay to Shazam and Black Adam. We don't need Superman.
I don't know. Again, it was just weird it was weird in the trailer to see the flashes of the Snyderverse DCEU, and it was the Snyder cut specifically portions of the movie. It's just weird to see that and have them reference that, but then they're like, but we're starting it all over. And it's like, but are you? Like, again, I don't know. I can't tell. I don't know anymore. But yeah, cool. We'll see. I don't know. I don't think this is going to be, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't think either of these movies are going to be that great, but we'll see.
Well, I don't have high hopes for the next one either. And
Yeah?
let's get
Okay.
into that one. This one was also released on the weekend of Comic-Con. We have John Wick 4,
Mm-hmm.
which is directed by Chad Stahelski, who has directed the entire series from its beginnings.
He was also a stunt actor for Neo, so they've been working together for a
really
long time.
Yeah, they have been working together for a long time. And it seems like, there's going to be a lot of crazy stunts based on this trailer. But of course, this stars Keanu Reeves as John Wick, Donnie Yen, Scott Adkins, Ian McShane, Bill Skarsgård, Halle Berry, Lawrence Fishburne, Hiroyuki Sanada. We got Lance Reddick. We got Clancy Brown. This movie is stacked with a huge cast, as always. The synopsis reads, with the price on his head ever increasing, legendary hitman John Wick takes his fight against the high table global as he seeks out the most powerful players in the underworld, from New York to Paris to Japan to Berlin. This is hitting theaters next March 24th, 2023. This looks like another John Wick movie.
Yeah.
With some crazy ass stunts. I am happy that Donnie Yen is in this movie.
That's cool.
I think
That's a dope ad.
that's a great addition.
Yeah.
That's a dope ad. And the addition of Hiroyuki Sanada is absolutely welcomed. I love that we're getting more samurai and that sort of fighting style interjected in the movie. I don't know if he was in it earlier. I thought he was for some reason, but Nate, I know you're a huge fan of these movies.
Yeah, absolutely. I dig them. I enjoy them from time to time. I don't know if I'm like a super fan, but I have enjoyed them in the past. I don't know. I mean, we've seen Hiroyuki Sanada in so many things recently with Mortal Kombat. He's been in Westworld is probably where I know him from the best. But yeah, I'm excited to get back to see more John Wick. It is feeling a little stretched at this point, being the fourth movie, but we got Winston back, we got the Continental back, which is great. I'm still wondering if that show is going to happen. That was supposed to be on Stars. They were going to do like a Continental show. I think we talked about like a long time ago. But I think Clancy Brown is a dope addition as well for this movie. I feel like he's going to be like the big bad this time around. Maybe he's kind of leading the high table and he's kind of this mystery role, and he's all decked out in black. And I don't know. I love Clancy Brown. The Bowery King, Lawrence Fishburne. I think it's such an iconic pairing with him and Keanu. So anytime they work together and they're just on screen together and it looks like they're going to have a lot more time spent together, it hits.
Yeah, it hits really well, and it's like they're different characters, but it's funny because Keanu feels like he's just playing like Keanu.
Yeah.
Right? Just like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's Neo.
Right? But like Lawrence Fishburne's Morpheus and Bower King are two different characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting to see them even when they're standing side by side in certain scenes.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I could like Lawrence Fishburne
Matrix
holds up a
element.
suit at one point, and I'm like, it might as well be a red and blue pill. Like it's like let's just get it out of there. Let's go.
And he's dressing him like Mr. Smith.
Right?
Come on, man.
Dude.
Like the irony of the situation, like he has the
But I will say I love the different weapons used. Again, we're getting more samurai swords, which we got in the previous ones, but
Yes.
nunchucks.
Yes.
You've got this dope poster for the movie that came out, and we do get to see him using the nunchucks in this trailer. I think that's dope. I think it's cool. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be fast, but I do think let this be the last one. This is it. Let him die at the end. Let him die and let a dog live.
think he should die.
Yeah, 100%. Kill him and then let a dog live on.
The only person
in the future, and then just get rid of. Then you're done. We don't need to keep going with this because honestly, it's so much. It's so much. Or you know what? Do the thing that you want to do. If you really want to keep this stuff going, keep it going, but Keanu, there you go. He becomes the next Lawrence Fishburne-esque character, and we bring on, another character to become the new Baba Yaga. You know what I mean? Like, why don't we bring in Jessica Henwick? I think bring her in, right? Have her be introduced and have her be the next Baba Yaga, and he could be like her mentor or whatever. And if you really want to do that, you know what I mean? If you really want to keep it going. But I feel like even fans of this stuff are feeling the stretch of a fourth movie at this point.
For sure. I'm interested to see if what they do with the Ana de Armas series, where she's like, I think it's called Ballerina. I think that's
right, and it's in the John Wick universe, right? Yeah.
Right.
So maybe she's the new one.
It'll be interesting to see. But I like that idea of introducing a Jessica Henwick as some sort of character. And
I was just going off the fact
Jessica
that they're
Henwick
both
just
in the
needs to
Matrix,
be-
right? So, yeah.
For sure. Yeah, no, she should be in more stuff. But yeah, I think that this looks a little stale, looks a little stretched. It looks very much a do-over.
Yeah.
I think Donnie Yen is probably the get for me of wanting to see what's really going to pan out and how his character is going to be introduced. And, that's literally it, because I feel like a lot of what we saw in this trailer is already stuff that we've seen.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just more.
I don't have high hopes for
We'll
it.
see.
Yeah, it's just more. It's just more. All right. Well, that wraps up trailer time. But, before we put a bow on this entire episode, I thought we could close out with a little whatcha for our listeners. Something you've enjoyed this past week that, people should watch, play, read, listen to, whatever it is.
I've been diving deep into What We Do in the Shadows. I can't really remember too much of the movie. I think the first time I watched that movie, I fell asleep halfway through. I felt like the pacing of the movie was...
You fell asleep?
Yeah, I fell asleep, and I've just closed my coffin door and just said, I'm too tired. I'm sure it was funny, and I'm sure maybe if I go back to it after having started watching the series, I might enjoy it more. But I've really been digging the show. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it is something that is different on TV, but it has the Taika Waititi humor. The guest stars, whenever they show up, are phenomenal. I just got to in season 2, there's a Mark Hamill guest star episode, which is probably my favorite episode so far. Not even so much because he's amazing in it, but Matt Berry is absolutely phenomenal. Where he goes on the run and he becomes this character named Jackie Daytona. He becomes like this bar owner because he kills the bar owner and then takes his place. And then this whole community starts to rally around him. And they're like, oh, we love Jackie Daytona. He's just been so good to the community. It's just this freaking vampire, Matt Berry, trying to pretend to be an American man. It's a lot of fun. And it's just one of those things that, honestly, give it a chance past the first, I would say even the first 3 episodes. Get into it, because I do think it starts off a bit slow. It starts off a bit sort of unconventional for what you might be used to with these sort of comedy series. But there's some really original ideas, and it's a lot of fun. Have you ever watched What We Do in the Shadows, either the movie or the show?
So the movie I watched a long time ago, but I don't think I finished it.
Right? You fell asleep.
I don't think it was my cup of tea back then. No, I don't think. I think it was on while I was at someone's house, a friend's house, and I wasn't tuned in at the time. But yeah, I think it's something I definitely want to revisit, especially now having such an appreciation for sort of comedy style that Taika Waititi has done, and I've been watching Our Flag Means Death. Our Flag Means Death as well, and I'm enjoying that show. And I feel like that's probably where something I'm gonna check out soon, and I've added it to a list of things to check out on my Disney Plus. Pretty sure.
Yeah, it's all on Disney. Season 1 to 3 is on Disney Plus, and then season 4 I think is happening.
But
right
is
now.
The movie on Disney Plus?
It might
movie?
be. I'll double check.
It should be if it's not. But yeah, I think I haven't checked it out, but I've heard nothing but positive things about the movie and the series.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely check it out if you're even just thinking about it, because it is. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. really having a good time with it. How about yourself? What ya, Justin?
Nice. Oh man, actually, you know what? I've watched a lot of stuff.
Really?
So over the weekend, since last week, after everything we covered last week, just quickly, I rewatched the first Predator movie. It was fantastic. It's so tacky, and it's got an 80s nostalgia. The graphics are horrible, but the story is very similar to that of Prey, which is currently out right now streaming. But Prey just takes it to a whole new level,
right?
And I watched the Shane Black version, and which was the Predator, and that was fun, and also the fact that Shane Black actually starred in the original, and now he's directing.
That's cool.
He directed an iteration of it. So, and you know who is the main character? Boyd Holbrook, who we talked about. We talked about from
the Sandman. He's
Corinthian is from the Sandman. Yeah. So I thought that was funny. I thought that was just a weird thing. I popped it on. I've also been just enjoying some docuseries though. Like Light and Magic is fire. I'm like 2 episodes in and loving it. But I really just went down a rabbit hole of wrestling content on A&E. And it's just been like biography stuff and just really like behind the scenes of like the time and the era of when I was into wrestling and before that too, just like the history of people that I know. I'm not really into the new stuff. I'm more interested in like the history and what it went into making wrestling, because that was like a booming time for the industry. And it's crazy to see these like big athletic men, you know, that are like, you know, really serious, like The Undertaker. I don't know if you know The Undertaker. He's just,
well, I've heard of him.
I've heard of him. Like, walks around. He, you know, how he represents himself, but then he's sitting here talking about the craft of his character with the story that they're trying to tell, and how he has a brother later, and like the impact. And like, I'm just like, these guys are like acting artists. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like they
have their own 10-year plan.
Their bodies.
Right? They have. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And they're still committed though to like the athleticism of like throwing their bodies around, which inevitably is the reason why they end up leaving the industry, is because they're just, you know, falling apart. But Undertaker's an example of someone who's done it for quite a while. But anyways, I just like how it's like an inside look at that. You know, it's clear now that there is a level of performance that goes into the wrestling and the stories that are being told. There's a level of performance that goes into that part, and there's a level of performance that obviously goes into the sort of fighting and the choreography, but it still has to be masterfully done. And to find a way to try to tell the story in your moves and what you do in the ring. You know, when they sit down with some of these wrestlers who've built this image and they talk about it in that vein of building their character with that, it's really interesting. It kind of shows you a whole new level.
we talk a lot about like the toys that made us and the movies that made us. Have you checked out This Is Awesome? Shout out to Greg Miller. Kind of funny. Did you get a chance to check out This Is Awesome? Because I've heard that's very much, I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's very much like the wrestlers that made us in a way.
Exactly. Yeah. It's 100% that. I haven't watched the entire first episode because I have had complete frustration with the experience of WWE content in Canada. Like I went on a bit of a Twitter.
I saw that
yesterday.
I saw you were like getting ready to like grand slam the app right out of your phone.
So like just to quickly explain here. I know we're running way along through the tooth, but I will explain my frustration because I know you are a technology man who likes how things can work seamlessly. Of course. Right? So you can't subscribe to WWE in Canada unless you're part of a cable provider, or you subscribe through Sportsnet, which is basically they own the sports here in Canada. They put all the sports out for in Canada, and so they have a wrestling option, so you can subscribe there. But the WWE has a great app. Everything is organized. Everything is like it's like their Netflix. It's their Disney Plus. It's a great way to find the content. Now I've signed in and I can see this content. I can't access it because I don't have an account. And if I try to connect my cable account, I still it'll play, but I can only watch it on a computer. I can't watch it in their app on the TV. I can't watch it in the app on my phone. I can only watch it on a desktop. And the same, the Sportsnet app allows you to access WWE content, but it's so frustrating because it's not all there. So the stuff that I'm seeing in their app that I'm like, oh, I want to watch this, I can't even play. here in like a comfortable manner. Like I have to sit at my desktop and do it. And I guess a lot of people be like, well, just put a browser on your Apple TV or something. And it's just like, this doesn't work.
It doesn't work that way.
I like that seamless experience. Like, again, you look at something like a Disney Plus or a Netflix. If I'm subscribing to your platform and your service, you have a way that you want me to enjoy it. I have to imagine that the WWE does not like this whole process. So I wish they would just allow me to sign into their app with my Canadian credentials. And then it would say, hey, you have access. Here's all the stuff.
Yeah.
That's all we need. That's all we need.
Well, hopefully Discovery will buy them and just take over and make them part of the DCEU.
Come up with a 10-year plan.
Come up with a 10-year plan, and they'll buy them, and just now all of a sudden all your wrestlers are fighting, Joker and dude. Actually, the Joker would be dope in the wrestling ring. I think it'd be a great character.
Well, there's probably characters, and Kevin, the guy who knows all about wrestling, because I still consider myself just more of a light fan, not necessarily a hardcore fan to wrestling. But yes, again, Greg Miller's show, This Is Awesome, is such a great sort of reflection of the fandom around wrestling as he breaks down certain key elements of what has made wrestling so special to people. So he's coming at it from a fan's perspective. So I was able to watch a bit of it here on my desktop for a little bit, but then I was really adamant about trying to get it on my Apple TV in the comfort of a room that is made for watching entertainment content. And I was like, that would be a better experience. But sadly, I haven't continued the episode. So, but he is passionate, man. Greg Miller,
he's fantastic.
He's
phenomenal.
Super passionate about that stuff. Yeah, man. All right. Well, thank you for letting me rant about that for a little bit there. But that concludes this episode of This Week in Geek. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you want to write into the show with your thoughts on the news and the trailers covered today or around any of the content we produce, well, you can email us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. But if that skews a little older for you, and you're a young cat, well, you can reach out to us on Twitter at GeekcentricYT or on Instagram at WeAreGeekcentric. Keep in mind, we also have a ton of other episodes covering the latest in movies, TV shows out now, including our spoiler-free review for Marvel Studios' animated short series, I Am Groot, which is out now for you to enjoy. All 5 episodes available on Disney Plus now. Last week, we had a busy week. As we were mentioning, we watched a ton of stuff, and we posted a bunch of spoiler-free reviews, including one for Netflix's Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie, which is why we started our conversation at the top of this show, which is out now. That movie is out now on Netflix, so go check it out. We also have our review for Apple and Skydance Animation's film Luck, which is out now on Apple TV. We also have our spoiler-free review for Hulu's original film from 20th Century Studios, Prey, on Hulu in the United States and Disney Plus globally. And finally, we have our spoiler-free review for Netflix's dark thriller series, The Sandman. All episodes of that are also out on the Netflix platform for you to stream and enjoy. But hey, if you're hesitant to check out any of that content, mentions, we'll give those episodes a listen to hear our thoughts before you check them out. And, let us know. Feel free to leave us a 5-star review if you don't mind. Also, we have our weekly show like this one that you're listening to now, This Week in Geek, with episodes dropping every single Wednesday where we bring you the latest news and trailer reactions. This on top of all the reviews and sometimes special interviews we drop weekly. Be sure to subscribe so you know when our latest episodes drop. Nate, thank you so much for joining me for this extra long This Week in Geek. And as we say,
Hey there, brother. I'm the Tower of Power. Too sweet to be sour. I'm funky like a monkey. Sky's the limit and space is the place.
That's my Macho Man. Love ya.
That's your Macho Man?
I don't know.
Oh,
I gotta watch more wrestling.
Like, who says that? Yeah, I think so. All right, man. With that, peace.
Brother.